everybody, it's Squid. Welcome back to the channel. Oh, I know I said I wasn't going live today because I have an appointment at 1, but we just had to we had to get this out because in doing what I do during art therapy, and I always wander during art therapy. We are working on mandalas today, and because my brain can't sit still, that's my lovely artwork. I might do a drawing stream one day just for the shit of it. However, girl, you're not poking me with the protractor again. I was checking the docket, and I was like, oh, let's see if Randy put his motion in because he's supposed to have his motion in by tomorrow, but tomorrow's Good Friday, so maybe he'll do it today. And I was like, let's check the other case. So yesterday, Randy put in a motion for a default judgment because guess what? Never, ever, 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 ever ignore a federal lawsuit, any lawsuit. When you are served, never, ever, 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 ever ignore it, because if you ignore it, it's not going away. If you ignore it, you lose. Yes, Unplanned and Jeff, thank you so much. You are amazing as usual. You are amazing. You are amazing. You are amazing. You are amazing, and you know why. Good morning, Aussie Just Jen, D, LRG, Mama Joe, Sheila, Donna. Good morning. How is everybody doing? And thank you for the people who commented on that that post that was left last night. My daughter decided to make a community post that I had no idea about until people started commenting on it. You know, things just happen around here, and I have no idea as to how or why or what reason. And thanks for everybody who showed up to the stream last night. That was a good conversation. It was a lot of uncomfortable conversation and some uncomfortable truths. But I think in order to enact change and prevent stuff from happening again, it's a conversation that needs to be had, but it's a conversation that the average person doesn't know needs to happen or doesn't even know that those documents exist. So that being said, we are going to get into this. I have to show it on the screen, and I have so many tabs open because I have tabs of like mandalas and all that, and so I'm like trying to keep my brain crazy, and I have an appointment at 1. So we have an hour. We have an hour. We got to get through this. It's only like 8 pages. So we can do it. We can do it. I got faith. And how do y'all like the new thumbnail? I decided to change it up for the second federal case. All right. And to anybody who decides to tell me to get my head out the way, no. All right. U.S. District Court, and this is the second case. This is not the first case. This is the second case. This was filed yesterday. Request for clerk's entry of default. Never ignore a lawsuit. Yeah, but maybe, the court does. So I'm not sure how. I don't know if the judge thought about that. I know he's Jewish. It's just the courthouse might observe and I don't know how the judge views deadlines when the courthouse is not open, even though it's an online submission thing. I get that. I just don't know what, if the judge's mindset would change if he remembered what happened, or like that tomorrow's Good Friday. What a great day. Yeah, I woke up feeling like ass, but it's slowly getting better. All right. Plaintiff Jeremy Hale hereby requests that the clerk enter default in this matter against the defaulting defendants as identified on Schedule A, attached hereto, collectively defaulting defendants, on the grounds that the defaulting defendants, say that 10 times fast, have failed to appear or otherwise respond to the complaint within either the time prescribed by the Federal Rules of Civil Procedure or the time set forth by the court for defendants to respond. Declaration of Randall Shockett in support of plaintiff's request for clerk's entry of default. At paragraph 7, filed concurrently herewith. On March 24th, 2025, and on March 25th, 2025, defendants were served with their respective summons and copies of the complaint via personal service of process and substitute service via usual place of abode of process. Shockett declaration at paragraph 4. See also document 18, 19, and 20. Proofs of service on file with the court reflecting that the defendants were served. Okay. Good to know. That's the hope, but you never know. You never know. I think the judge is pissed at the first case, and I think his sternness and his agitation with the first case is going to bleed over into the second case, and he's not going to take any shit. So there's a yeah. The time allowed for the defaulting defendants to respond to the complaint has expired. Neither plaintiff nor the court has granted defaulting defendants an extension of time to respond to the complaint, nor has any defaulting defendant requested same. The defaulting defendants have failed to answer or otherwise respond to the complaint or serve a copy of any answer or other response upon plaintiff's attorney of record. Plaintiff is informed and believes that none of the defaulting defendants could be considered infants or incompetent persons. Randy's giving them a lot of leeway on this one. A lot of leeway. Hey. Sorry. Hello here for just a bit before I get my nails done. I usually don't do that, but I needed something for me this one time. Hey, you can't look out for anybody else unless you are taking care of yourself. And sometimes we need a little self-pampering, you know? Plaintiff is informed and believes that the Service Members Civil Relief Act does not apply. Yeah. Service Members Civil Relief Act is like when someone is deployed or going on a deployment and, can't pay something or can't respond to something because they're literally not here. There's other things that go into it besides deployment, but that's the easiest description because I used it for my court case when I got a speeding ticket and I had to show up for court for my speeding ticket because it's not one of those that you could just pay. I was going a little too fast for that. But I had to use the Service Members Civil Relief Act to continue my case for a year. Hey, Taz. Wherefore, plaintiff hereby requests that default be entered against defendants as identified on Schedule A attached here too. Respectfully submitted on April 16th, 2025, Shockett Law Group. And their certificate of service. That this was served to both Bruce and Christopher Gage. All right. Hey, Bruce, the good Bruce. Bruce from Oregon. How are you, my friend? Hope you're feeling all right. Declaration of Randall Shockett in support of plaintiff's request for clerk's entry of default. I, Randall Shockett, declare and state as follows. I am over 18 years of age, and I have personal knowledge of the facts set forth herein. I make this declaration in support of the plaintiff's request for entry of clerk's entry of default. If called upon to do so, I could and would competently testify to the following facts set forth below. Well, and y'all, can you hit that like button? And I know that 33% of you that watch my videos are not subscribed. So if you could hit that subscribe button and really help my channel out, it would be great. I know that 5% of you are my hate watchers who hate everything I do, yet watch everything I do. So love you. Y'all are amazing. And keep on going. And Patrick W., thank you for the $20 super chat. Breaking news: with Bubbles gone, LP and Cook can no longer afford the blue bucket they possess. Also in the news, selective mutism and ignoring court loses another court case. Yeah. 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 Hey, Higgles. Yeah. And you don't need coupons. Although I do love my coupons. Do not get me wrong. IT Goatee. Holy crap. How are you? I've missed you. I've been thinking about texting you because I want your input on a couple of things. Not technology wise, but like court case wise and reading, because you're amazing like that. And you have a knowledge of certain things that I don't, which would really help out in this case. I like people who are smarter than me. If you surround yourself by people who are smarter than you, your ego never gets in the way. I'm an attorney duly licensed to practice before this court, and I am counsel of record for the plaintiff, Jeremy B. Hales. On February 23rd, 2025, plaintiffs filed their complaint, document 1, against defendants identified on Schedule A here too, collectively defaulting defendants. On March 24th and on March 25th, defendants were served with their respective summons and copies of the complaint via personal service of process and substitute service of process. See proofs of service, documents 18, 19, and 20. I saw those, didn't bother going over them because they have personal information on them and like addresses, and I'm just not about, I don't want people to out my home and address of the people who know it. So I just try to respect everybody. I don't have to like you, but I'm still going to respect your privacy because I would want them to do the same to me. So it's just my, Jeremy already posted a short. He also said that Flea One is begging for a deal, but he will not agree. And good. I mean, honestly, like the amount of, I don't disagree. Okay, and y'all are going to hate me for this, but there are some things that Felisa has said that I don't necessarily disagree with the intention. I disagree with how they're being done. But to that, she's also said some stuff. And I'm sorry, when you start giving people problems for hanging out in my chat, that y'all know me. I let anybody in this chat who wants to be civil. There are only 2 people who are ever banned from my chat. One is Bruce and one is MLS. And the only reason MLS is banned is because he shared our DMs in a video. He stole my content, clipped where I timed him out for 24 hours, and he decided to share our DMs in a YouTube video. Anybody who shares my DMs, I'm sorry, I don't hate you, but I can no longer associate with you. Like I just but other than that, there are people who are in this chat who are regulars in their chat, but they're respectful to me. So I don't care, because what people do in the 23 hours a day that I'm not streaming is none of my business. But when you start giving people who have supported you crap for supporting me, that's when I have a problem. So I have a problem with her personally on a personal level. We would never be friends, ever. So when you screw with someone for long enough, you get what you get. I mean, as Charlotte Dobre says, karma is a bitch and she always collects her debts. So here we go. I don't know. MLS posted a video about Jeremy, how Jeremy might have been, I don't remember the exact premise of the video. It was like 8 months ago. But I didn't necessarily disagree with everything that MLS said in that video. However, I believe, and y'all can correct me if I'm wrong because my memory is shady, because when I don't care about things, it's really hard to remember them. I believe that he had contacted Lynette, and that is one thing Jeremy said, do not contact her, because that's when Judge Grudge was being an asshole and like holding Jeremy responsible for things that random people on the internet do. So Jeremy had asked not to contact her, and that's what he did. So that was part of the altercation. So that's probably not all of it. There's probably a bunch of stuff that I don't know, but that part I do know. And the funny thing is I didn't disagree with that video from MLS. All of it. Some of it, yeah, but some of it I agreed with. But it's just the how you go about doing anything. Yeah, MLS contacted. Okay. MLS contacted LP is correct. Okay, that's what he had a problem with. He might have had a problem with more. I don't know. Don't talk to either of them to find out details, because what happens between them, like what happens between other people, unless those individual parties want to tell me, I don't go asking questions because I don't have the time to care. Like, or the brain power. Yeah, kind of. I'm still working on like integrating it and how to like remember that I can use it for buttons instead of trying to do it the hard way. So I'm still getting used to it, but I appreciate it. Twins, the Flea said that Bruce is still a lawyer, even though he said he can't come to court. It's just so, it's just so weird. All I know is Squid owes us energy drinks. And honestly, Slug, that is the only thing that is keeping me going today, because the little did not go to sleep until 10:45 last night. And then I woke up at 3 o'clock when Mr. Squid got up for work. And I think I fell back to sleep at like 7. And I woke up at 8. So, yeah. And I appreciate that. I really do. All right, getting back to this, because we are on a time limit because I have to take my new car to the dealership. There's nothing wrong with it, but they owe me a detail. And since I went and picked up mulch the last 2 days, my car needs to be detailed. The time allowed for defaulting defendants to respond to the complaint has expired. Yeah, I like this because it doesn't have sugar in it. Probably it has chromium, calcium, riboflavin, niacin, B6, B12, biotin, pantothenic acid, and chromium. Green tea extract, vegetable juice for color, calcium carbonate, ascorbic acid, niacinamide, biotin. Yeah. It's got the cheap kind of chromium in it, but, it is what it is. Oh boy, once I get back to my setup, I'll be digging into some stuff, because you just got falsely accused of defaming precedent. There's that Lori G who posted a comment where she said TikTok. She put it like the app and not in her second comment, she put TikTok like the clock, but she's accused me of defaming people too. And just expressing my opinion that I don't like certain people based on what they've specifically said about me and to me. Yeah, about that. Gotta have the sugar. My fat ass does not need any more sugar. The defaulting defendants have not been granted an extension of time to respond to the complaint, and no defaulting defendant has requested such an extension. I call certain people the Thunder Cows, but that was my name that I decided to call them, but they've also called me a bitch, so like, yeah, horse a piece. My nickname's just more original. Like, wow, Squid, new car, new house, new electronics, you're being everything Fleesa wish she could get out of streaming. You put in the work, you deserve everything you get. Well, okay, the new car was technically left. There was a chunk of money that was left to me in my grandfather's will, or my grandfather's estate, that was meant for me to get a new vehicle. So it's not like, and I love my dad, but he was at a certain point like, okay, you need to either use this money for a new vehicle, or it is being reabsorbed back into the estate, because like you need, it's been here for 9 months. You need to you need to either shit or get off the pot. So I pretty much, like, it was one of those, with the tariffs possibly coming to vehicles made overseas, and because the vehicle that I got is manufactured completely in Japan, most Toyotas are not. This one is. I wanted to get it before the price of the vehicle went up, so it's not completely, Plus, I've had a lot of support from you guys. Without the support from you guys, none of this would be here. This wouldn't be here. Half the I have in my house right now wouldn't be here. Y'all are I'm gonna be vibing since I'm probably gonna hit 7K when I go live later. Good luck. Good luck. I would say I would subscribe to you, but I already do. So, but there are people in this chat that you need to subscribe to. 3 Awesome Dogs is one. Slug, Roslyn. Hey Roslyn, how are you? Roslyn Duke has the best merch. If you want to make fun of Stu on Facebook, you can get a Calm Down Stupid sticker from her merch store. It's great. Yep, use it or lose it. That's pretty much yep, we're gonna get to that. But I wanted to get to the what Jeremy and Randy posted first. But do you see how this is written? This is how Randy should have written everything. It's clear, it's concise, it's back to being his professional self that we always knew he was. He just got a little, this is what happens when you're not emotionally invested in a case. Like you, there's a difference between an opinion and defamation, but stupidity will always scream defamation. Yeah, but there are people who will make fun of everybody else and call everybody else every name under the sun. But there's always people in the world that can dish it out, but can't take it. And the people who are calling me names and saying that I'm defaming people are not the only people who do this. This is a common thing in 2025. I was taught when I was really little that you either suck it up or you shut up. And I just learned to suck it up. The judge talked, Randy understood. That will go far in this case. I hope so. Honestly, there's things about this case that I don't think will go forward. But the fact that I knew this was going to happen. I knew, just checking the docket and not seeing anything entered, I knew that something like this was going to happen. Because people think if they ignore it, it's just going to go away. That's not how the world works. Like, it's not how the world works. I did the same and replaced my 16-year-old Malibu with money left to me from my mother's estate to beat I didn't trade in my old vehicle because my old vehicle has been paid off for quite a few years. But I am going to give it to a family member so that they can replace their vehicle because they have a vehicle right now that's going to cost more money to fix than the vehicle is worth. So I have to get a couple things fixed on my car, like the door handle. I opened the door one day and the cover that covers the lock part went flying. Why it broke of all things, I've been putting it off, but once I get that fixed, and I'm going to get new tires put on it and stuff like that and make sure it's got a tune-up before I give it to my family member. But so I'm trying to pay it forward, the fact that I was lucky enough to be left amount of money to buy the vehicle that I have now, that I'm going to keep until the wheels fall off because I love it. It's a hybrid, but it has an EV mode. So like when I'm idling at a red light or something like that, or like I'm in a parking lot waiting for someone to get out of a store, or waiting for my boss to show up at our job site, I can go into EV mode and not waste gas. It's great. The defaulting defendants have failed to answer or otherwise respond to the complaint or otherwise serve a copy of an answer or other response upon plaintiff's attorney of record. I am informed and believe none of the defaulting defendants are infants or incompetent persons. Once again, the second part, not by the legal definition of incompetent, because there's always a medical, a legal, and like a common sense definition. when I think someone's incompetent, just because I think they're incompetent doesn't mean they are technically medically incompetent or legally incompetent. And the medical and legal kind of go hand in hand. But side note. I have a there's something about that too. Don't let me forget about a transcript. Because when this transcript comes out, I will be reading it because I am curious as all hell. And upon information and belief, the Service Members Civil Relief Act doesn't apply. I declare under penalty of perjury and under the laws of the United States of America that the foregoing is true and correct. Hi, Angel. Why do you have the TV remote? And then these are Marla Hughes, John Cook, and Lynette Michelle, Lacey Alexis Preston. So there's that. So we have that. Close that window. And we're going to share. I mean, and if she's willing to submit to a medical screening or that or such, then you know, and I know I'm making those sounds again where I'm like, because my brain wants to say stuff that YouTube will not allow me to say. So here we go. Document 22. This was filed this morning. Clerk's entry of default upon application of the plaintiffs in the above styled cause and having examined the records, and there appearing to be no responsive pleadings filed by the defendants, default is hereby entered against Marla Hughes, John Cook, and Lynette Michelle Lacey Alexis Preston on April 17th, 2025. There's that too. There's that too. So there's a yeah. Oh yes. Randy has always been the better writer, but when the last few that Randy has had have been the best yet. So far, like, I have nothing negative to say about Christopher Gage. That was a comparable to Christopher Gage. Professional, said only what needed to be said, didn't waste any time, was clear, concise, straight to the point. So he's always been the better of the writers. Do not, I am not trying to say anything that Randy is not a good writer. However, you can see sometimes in some of his writings that he was getting snarky, and that is why the judge sanctioned him too. And for everybody who read my 4 a.m. thoughts, I appreciate you guys. I did put a community post out the other day of I had 4 a.m. thoughts. I was reading some things, reading some comments and things. And people are like, well, the judge still hasn't sanctioned Bruce yet, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Monetary sanctions are easy. I'm pretty sure if Bubbles would have showed up to that April 3rd hearing, that he would have just had monetary sanctions too, because they're easy. Here, this is how you screwed up. This is how you repay. Bring your checkbook. We're good. But because he did not show up, the judge has so many things to go through federal rules of civil procedure, Florida, the local rules of the Northern District of Florida, the American Bar Association rules, the Florida Bar Association rules, the Massachusetts Bar Association rules, a shit ton of case law. And the judge does not want, in my opinion, just based on how the judge has written, the judge does not want to mess things up. Sanctions are not given out lightly. There are a bunch of cases where I thought attorneys should be sanctioned, and the judge said no, because courts do not like giving out sanctions. They don't like telling other people with the same degrees that they have, because judges are lawyers too, that they are incompetent or they screwed up, or, you'd like to think that other adults, and the judge said it, you'd like to think that I wouldn't have to hold the hand of other adults. But here we are. So the judge is being very meticulous, and he has a lot. Y'all saw local rules to the Northern District of Florida are 82 pages. 82 pages. The Florida Federal Rules of the Florida State Bar Ethics Rules are 261 pages. So, like, think about the amount of paperwork that the judge has to look through to figure out what he is able and not able to do. The years and years of case law to go through. He's going to take every moment of these 30 days, in my opinion, to that means that whatever Jeremy asked for, they get. I did not see Jeremy short. I had art therapy at 10, and when I'm in art therapy, my brain kind of gets away from myself because art therapy stresses me out. So my brain starts to wander. I'm on this monitor, making sure that, the person can see me and the group can see me, and I'm on this searching. So I look up documents during art therapy. Although I did do this. So this is the start of my mandala. And this goes back to 1930s Carl Jung psychology. My art therapist looked at me kind of funny when she said, "Have you ever heard one of these before?" It was like college psychology class. Carl Jung. Like, I remembered that from 2010. So Steve said Flea one wanting a deal. And I have not talked to anybody about yesterday. Did Jeremy or Larry or anybody post anything about how the hearings went yesterday for the thumbnail case and the trespass 5? Because I do know that the judge said, no, you can't withdraw, and no, we're not postponing these. But here. The thing I did want to show, and I just closed it. And why did I close it? Because I wanted to go back and show the other suit. 135. There is something interesting in the docket for the original case. There's 134. It's not in yet. Thumbnail was postponed as Stark went off. Of course, there's always something. There's always something. So this is the docket for the other case, the first case. Entry number 134, notice of filing of official transcript of the show cause hearing proceedings held on April 3rd, 2025, before Judge Zachary C. Beletho, court reporter, transcriber Heidi M. Dugan. Transcript may be viewed at the court public terminal or purchased through the court reporter transcriber before the deadline for release of transcript restriction. After that, it may be obtained through Pacer. Redaction request date is the 23rd, which is next week. The transcript restriction is set for 7/22, or release of transcript is 7/22/2025. So 7/23/2025. If I can't get a hold of that transcript earlier, it will be on Pacer, and I will be reading it because I want to know everything that the judge said. Like, at this point in time, people who know me and know how I really, really feel about this case, don't get me wrong, I don't not like Jeremy and I don't hate Lynette, but I care what the judge says. The only thing that I'm really interested right now is the judge. The judge intrigues me because he's the only one not giving his side. For obvious reasons. But, like, I am so fascinated by this judge that, like, I'm fascinated by what goes through this judge's head. And I want to see exactly what he said, not what Randy and Jeremy said that he said. I want to know word for word what he said. I can't wait. I can't wait. I can't wait for this docket to be released. I cannot wait. I'm on pins and needles. I might actually try to get it through the court reporter. Because I'm so curious. Like, this has nothing to do with like Bubbles or Randy or anything, or I just want to know exactly what that judge said, because I have so many questions. Like, Davis told him Stark had medical documentation, so believe he went to get a note. Yep. I have a judge crush on McDreevy. Yep. Larry posted the default in federal case too. Yeah. Hi, Musi. How are you? What happens if they get judgments against them and they file for bankruptcy? That is out of my area of expertise. But one thing we will do is I do want to look at the original complaint and see exactly what 2Ls were reading some transcript last night. Suppose it was that one. I couldn't listen to her tone when reading. And I'm sorry, my voice is worse than normal. Mr. Squid was sick for a couple of days. Then the little was sick for a couple of days. And Mama's been sick for a couple of days. But, you know, Mr. Squid, when he's sick, he gets to rest. The baby girl, when she's sick, she obviously gets to rest. Mama, when she's sick, still has to be Mama, still has to do laundry, still has to make sure, you know, we have a clean diaper and fed and all this. I can't take a day off. To me, I feel like nails on a chalkboard today, or like an emphysema patient. Because the other day it was really bad. It's not as bad as it was, but it's getting there. The clerk granted the default from the clerk, but waiting on the judge to decide in the amount. If am I understanding that correctly? I believe they get whatever Jeremy asked for, or what the judge deems is appropriate. We're going to look at what Jeremy originally asked for, just to see. Still a better voice than the two fleas, but not a high bar to pass. Hey. My husband said a man cold is worse than giving birth. Considering halfway through my C-section, I looked at Mr. Squid and was like, I can't do this anymore because the pressure was so intense. His words to me were, it's too late now. You read the transcript last night. I didn't think it was that bad for Randy. Judge B was really fed up with this case. I really want to know what he said. So do you have the transcript, or did you read it, or did somebody else give it to you, or did you somehow get it on your own? Because if anybody wants to send it to me, I would really appreciate it. I would even Venmo you if it cost you money to go get. But I'm curious. Jeff, yes, bankruptcy can void certain federal judgments. However, it's not a blanket cancellation. Bankruptcy primary voids judgments related to dischargeable debts. Tug last night had a breakdown of the amount of each needed to pay. Yeah, I was streaming last night. I actually did a nighttime stream last night because I had to cancel yesterday afternoon stream. So I had to I streamed last night. I actually did a nighttime stream, and now I understand why I don't do nighttime streams anymore. Because my old ass cannot, especially when I'm sick, cannot handle that. Yeah, I've been to small claims court and it sucked and took forever. Small claims. I can't imagine a big case like this. Yeah. You're watching both of us at the same time. Yeah, I just feel like there are so many things that I haven't covered because I've been covering this that I wanted to focus on. And that NTSB report was one, because there was some uncomfortable truths in that. And plus there's other NTSB reports that I want to get to. There's all those NTSB reports, like the one from Philly. I want to get the Canadian Transport Safety Board, their report on the Delta jet that flipped over, because CRJs are a problem lately. And since I have an in-house expert, I have an in-house aviation expert. Mr. Squid is my in-house aviation expert. He has a degree in aeronautical engineering. He currently works in aviation. He's worked in aviation since 2004 when he joined the military. With the few months that he went to Buds to try to be a SEAL. He has worked in aviation ever since. And he used to work for the company that makes CRJs. So he is not only my, he is not only the awesome baby squid's father, the man of my dreams, but he is my in-house aviation expert. And I talk to him when I have questions like, this makes sense to me, but you know this more than me. And he is a very quiet person unless you get him talking on something like aviation where he is seriously interested in. My company has been involved in a lawsuit, and they absolutely are money and time vampires. Yeah, it's from what I got, the judge is getting tired. Yeah, he's very yes, love our AOs. Mine retired as a chief. He got higher tenured. So he didn't get out by choice. Yeah, it's not Bombardier anymore though. It was bought by somebody. It was bought by another company. So but CRJs are a flying brick. So when when something happens to them, they drop like a fly. They're not like a glider that, comes in nice. And I'm using my lip gloss as a airplane. Lord, things I never thought I'd do on my 2025 bingo card. But when CRJs have an issue, and they just go and drop. So they're a pack of bricks. Not derailing. It was the reason I did not stream last night, but messaged it and it sounds good. And this is what we were going to do. Getting back to the original thing, we were going to look at what they were asking for. So Hughes defamation, $220,000 for defamation per se. And this is where I think the judge is going to step in, because even though that seems like an awesome amount of money, is it really realistic? So $220,000 for defamation. Weeks. Matt Skin has responded. Preston, $390,000 for count 1, malicious prosecution. And I haven't looked at this since we read it. I think I looked at it like the next week to get some answers for something, but I haven't read this since February. So forgive me if I look lost. It's because I'm going through it just like we did that first day. Yes, all of the cases, the parties, starting from the top and going down, usually is a thing easier. Genesis and background of misconduct. We all know the background by now. If you don't know the background by now, J.K.D. Buck, University of Cincinnati here has a great school for avionics, aerospace engineering, and aviation technology. Neil Armstrong was a professor there. I prefer Xavier. Just kidding. I still love you. Don't hold that against me. But when I applied to go to school for Xavier back in the day when you had to fill out paper applications to schools, but I got my thing in the mail, but I never opened it because I joined the military by then, so I didn't want any disappointments. So I shredded all my college applications when I got the responses. So I don't actually know if I did or didn't get in. Most of my family worked at McDonnell Douglas or de Havilland in Toronto. I have friends that work for various aviation companies around the world. My my I have a couple friends who work for Boeing, and every day I just ask them why. JKD Buck, if you look at my transcripts, I am about halfway to an aeronautical engineering degree from Embry-Riddle, and I've never stepped foot in a classroom for aeronautical engineering. It's just military credits. Wouldn't he, the judge, need Jeremy's financials to see what kind of hit he took, plus punitive damages to change the amount to something different? And that is something that I would assume, but you know what they say when you assume things. We will see what the judge has to do because of the fact that it's in my eyes, and like I said, not a lawyer, never claimed to be a lawyer, never been mistaken for a lawyer, just somebody who likes reading documents. This is something that I have never actually seen. I've had people ask for a summary judgment or a default judgment, and a default judgment has been entered, but I've never seen them actually have anything in there that says what the people have to pay. So there's that. Patrick W, thanks for the $5 super chat. I'm a few minutes behind. What I just heard was your aviation expertise used you. Oh my God. Oh. I had a job offer from Boeing a few years ago before the issues with the MAX and assassinating whistleblowers. Mr. Squid got an offer. When I first moved down here, he would get job offers. He didn't work in aviation at that time. He took a break. But he would get job offers from recruiters all the time. He got an email about modifying a 747 to be an Air Force One type jet. I wish he would have done it. And then he also got he did get I always joked that if he got a SpaceX job offer, I'd have the house packed before he got home from work. Until he got a SpaceX job offer and I was 6 months pregnant. And I was like, we're not moving to Texas right now. I'm like, darn it. But he did get a SpaceX, and SpaceX takes care of their employees so well. They have like employee engagement things. Poor Grandma Squid. Shush. DC-10, still one of the best looking planes ever to fly in mass transport. I don't know. I like the 717, but that's just me. It's big enough to be considered a big aircraft. The seating in it for the airline that I worked for was great because it was extended leg rest. It was the best care in the air. If you know, you know. It chocolate chip cookies and meals that were still baked or heated up, and those nice hot meals. And then everything is now cramped, and yeah. I interviewed at Tesla in 2019. Kind of wish I would have gotten that one. Yeah. I'm late to the party. Jeremy did a quick 30-second reel stating he got a judgment close to $2 million from Marla Cook Lynette in federal case 2. Yeah, we were just looking at $220,000 from Marla, but there is the question of whether just because he asked for that doesn't mean that's what he's going to get. Working on Air Force One was a friggin' nightmare. Yeah, it was doing the modifications for it. So yes, I'm that old. Well, I didn't say a word on DM. I didn't say a word. Like, I've been looking at my analytics lately, and most of my viewers are between the ages of 50 and 75. So, like, y'all, I'd say over half of you. So, we're going to see real quick because I have about 10 more minutes. And then I have to go. Stark Bale checked himself into the ER. Was he having a panic attack? 199 Lisa, thank you for the 199 super chat. A10 all the way. I worked on E2C Hawkeyes So if you know, you know, like if you know, you know. The boomers in shut up. You're so mean. See above regarding default judgment. Uh-oh. Did I since they didn't respond, it can be the same as you say guilty and don't care, so they don't have to provide the evidence because he did put in amounts in original files. They didn't respond. It's on them. And that's true. That's true. So I'm going to take your word for it. I'm never the type to say, yeah, it's that, and I'm sure it's that when I'm not actually sure. So I will always default to I will always default to we will wait and see because I am not sure. Instead of telling you guys I know something that I really don't know. And that's why I read. What would you like a muffin? These are her favorite things. Can you throw that in the garbage, please? Here. Here you go. Have a kiss. Mwah. Love you. I too. All right. Hey, T1. Yep, worked on Hummers. I, on the other hand, worked on the loudest aircraft on the flight deck. The loudest are the most annoying because EA-6Bs were, I don't know if they were necessarily the loudest, but they were the most annoying because they were the ones who literally swept you off your feet. Because EA-6Bs, yes. You want your pad? Yeah. Bob, bring it here. Hold 1 second. Girl, we have 5 more minutes and then we're going to change your diaper and we got to get going, okay? No. Yes. Yes, I can't let you stay here by yourself. Sorry, lady. All right. EA-6Bs were literally the people who swept you off your feet because their exhaust faced down. And I used to have to shoot them with IFF. If you know, you know. I used to have to make sure their transponders worked. Where, if when every aircraft has a transponder that responds to other aircraft to let them know basically what they are or aren't, and, if they're friend or if they're not. I had to interrogate every aircraft before it left the deck at least once a week on deployment. And when I had to run my butt all over the flight deck, that was the most fun, but the scariest time, because when the pilots can't launch without you, and when you're on the other side of the deck and you see a plane that's ready to go and you're like, oh crap, I didn't get that shit. But it allowed you to have fun and talk to everybody and see everybody and not Slug, I offered you $100 for the worm and you failed. Sorry, Slug, you were not here. Rule 55, Federal Rules, Default Judgment. Sweet. We are going to read through that really quick because I have the Federal Rules of Civil Procedure still open on my desktop. Like I said, I don't like to close things because that way I have them open just in case this needs to be done. Rule 34. Rule 55. 55. Default judgment. All right. Entering a default when a party against whom a judgment is for affirmative relief is sought has failed to plead or otherwise defend, and that failure is shown by affidavit or otherwise, the clerk must enter the party's default. By entering a default judgment by the clerk, if the plaintiff's claim for a sum or certain sum that can be made certain by computation, the clerk, on the plaintiff's request, with an affidavit showing the amount due, must enter judgment for that amount it cost against a defendant who has been defaulted for not appearing and who is neither a minor nor an incompetent person. By the court, in all other cases, the party must apply to the court for a default judgment. A default judgment may be entered against a minor or incompetent person only if represented by a general guardian, conservator, or other like fiduciary who has appeared. If The party against whom a default judgment is sought has appeared personally or by representative. That party or its representative must be served with written notice of the application at least 7 days before the hearing. The court may conduct hearings or make referrals, preserving any federal statutory right to a jury trial. When to enter or effectuate judgment, it needs to A, conduct an accounting, B, determine the amount of damages, C, establish the truth of any allegation by evidence, or D, investigate any other matter. You water? Well, that's technically my water, but okay. C, setting aside a default or default judgment. The court may set aside an entry for a default for good cause, and it may set too much water too fast. And it may set aside final default judgment under Rule 60B. And then that's a judgment against the United States. So, literally, guess what? You just need an affidavit showing the amount due. Let's see. We'll see what happens. I mean, it all is up to how the court interprets this. I was on. Oh, thank you. It's me. I have this is soundproofing, but it was too pretty not to put behind me. And then we have my brain book. And I'm really surprised that nobody commented on this book giving me shit. So this is what a patient gave me because I like military history. And this is the Luftwaffe, a history of the Luftwaffe from 1915 to 1945. So yes, it does have the symbol of the Yazis on it, but that's because it's a history of those. It's a history of the German Air Force from 1915 to 1945, which military history intrigues me. It doesn't matter what side it's on. And it's very interesting to me to see how the loser, what's a book? The TikTok psychic had a summary judgment against them and the judge reversed it. No, I am not that old. Thank you. I was on the Enterprise, so I am that old. I am that old. I was on the Enterprise. I was in a squadron, so I wasn't technically on the Enterprise. I wasn't ship's company, but you know. Hey, Paul. History is history. Screw YouTube. Yes, and my thing is you can't erase history. There is some things that go on in history that are really bad, but if you forget them, you are doomed to repeat them. And only by knowing your history can you learn from it and be a better person. History is not always present. It's not all sunshine and rainbows. Really bad things happened by a lot of people all over the world. But if you don't, I'm one of those people where it's like, if you don't know your history, it's really hard to know why things are done the way they are done. But squid served under Captain Kirk. My dad was on the SS Pine Island. Ooh, I have not heard that name before. Was Spock really logical? Y'all give me a Soldier Mom, good morning. Army Mom here. I have a nice collection of my vintage Firma. And I have a thought with that book that I just showed you guys. Like, people had problems with certain presidential candidates or vice presidential candidates having Yahtzee insignia. History lesson. For those of you who don't know, there are soldiers who went over there, fought our greatest generation, who took those patches and those symbols and those the silver and all that as like a, hey bitches, we won. They were not. Whenever you see them in like a thrift shop or a like a museum, they are not as a symbol to lift up that ideology. They are a symbol that we beat that ideology and we took them home. Most of those patches that you see were taken off of people who got shot. And most of the time, the person who took them is the person who unalived the other person. So, like I said, history is not always pretty. But if you look at it from, oh, he has Yahtzee memorabilia, it's like, no, he has symbols of the Allied victory. And if you don't follow the History Underground on YouTube, oh my God, he is an amazing, yes, war badges. War badges. My daughter was in a squadron deployed on the Ronald Reagan. I was in a squad. What type of aircraft? Because I was on a squadron. Well, I was on a squadron in Norfolk. Yes, they were war badges. They were symbols to say we won. They took anything they could. They took Hitler's silver. Like, yes, some people are recreationally offended. It's stupid. Yeah. But if you don't, that's one of the things where not knowing history can get you not in trouble, but like make you look stupid because you just, yes, they're trophies. Lots of those symbols were taken from previous cultures and religions and perverted to the ideology that you speak of. Yeah. That symbol in the middle that we're not supposed to talk about was taken from, was it Buddhism? It was taken from an Eastern religion. I'm from VA and I loved Norfolk. I was in Norfolk. That's where I was stationed. Aircraft carriers fascinate me. I love learning more about them. I love knowing the history. Where my shop was actually part of a fire. So if you believe in ghosts, I have ghost stories for you. But on that note, guys, I have to get going. I have an appointment at 1:00. I have to get going. I would love to sit and talk military. Y'all, we need to do a members only, like, ask me anything. Like, I need to invite some vets on the panel and just share stories because we've all got them. And they're all fun. And some of them are like, did that really happen? But yes, it did. Y'all have a great day. Thanks for hanging out with me. All 532 of you, they're still here after we got through talking about the important stuff. So it's Angel Bug. We're going to go customization, redirect. We are going to go Nick Starro, Mo in the Deep End, flashback to Karen Reed, Lally's closing. That should be a shit show and a half. Join Mo on the Petty Express. Mo is my spirit animal. I love her. Mama Mo. If you know, you know. And if you don't know, please go find out. Tell her I said hi. Y'all have a great day. And I will see you guys on the next one. Bye.